Swanson here. Welcome back to another episode of The Real Freedom Show. This is episode number 6, and today we're going to be talking about how you can master your craft. Now, I'm going to be talking to real estate investors today. If you have no interest in being a real estate investor, listen anyway, because the key to anything in business, the key to whatever you want to do in life is what we're going to be talking about today. This is an episode where we're going to peel back the onion and we're going to talk about 10 things that you need to do to create success in your active real estate investing business. Heck, these are the things that you can do to create success in any business. It doesn't matter what the background or the nature of the business is. Now, before we dive into this, I want to throw out to you that if you have some Q&A, if you have some questions that you want me to answer specifically about real estate investing, money, business, life, on upcoming episodes, I want you to call or text my Q&A hotline, and that is 720-605-6265. I'm looking at it right there on my desk. 720-605-6265. That is the number that you can call in and ask me any question. Hey, if you've got a specific deal you're working on, if you've got a question about how to get started, if you've got a question about how to convert from active to passive investing, if you've got a question about markets, what the economy is doing, if you've got a question about how all of these things affect you as a real estate investor, call or text your questions to 720-605-6265, and I will jump in and I will answer them. Now, we are going to dive in here today, and we are going to talk about the thing that you need to do to master your craft. Master your craft. Here's the thing. I want to give you guys a little insight. In my business, the people around here, we have created a culture. Now, if you have gone through my 2-part series on how to hire, grow, and scale your real estate investing business, I want you to keep listening to this and you're going to understand some of what I'm saying. If you've not yet gone through that 2-part series, I want you to go back there right after this episode and I want you to listen to it. In fact, you may want to go back and listen to that 2-part episode first, because we're going to build on that concept. In order to build your team, in order for you to succeed in this business, you've got to master your craft. And there are 10 specific things that you need to do to master your craft. Now, we spend a lot of time here in my business training our team, working with our team, pouring into our team to master your craft. And all of these areas are critically important for success in any business, including real estate investing. I'm going to just start breaking them down, and then we're going to have conversations about the various ones. Now, here's the cool thing. The list is 10 points long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But there are really only 5 things you need to focus on to be successful. These are going to be specific to real estate investing. There are 5 things, but 10 items. You're going to see that one item in particular comes back again and again and again. And if you can master this, if you can master this thing, you can be successful in any business, including real estate investing. Number 1. The number 1 thing here on the Real Freedom Show that we are going to be talking about today that you need to master your craft is lead generation. Number 1, lead generation. If you don't have leads, you do not have a business. You do not have a business. Lead generation is the number 1 thing that you need to master in order to create success in your business. Now, let's talk about lead generation. Because a lot of people say, well, that's great, Rob. That's the number 1 thing, and that's what I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do it. Well, okay, figure it out. Let's figure out lead generation. Because until you have leads, you don't have anything else to do. So your number 1 thing when you're first starting your business is to pour into and figure out, how am I going to get leads? See, there's two things in business years ago that I figured out that I needed to get really good at. And I mean, this is going on nearly 20 years ago. And those two things are lead generation. I needed leads on a consistent basis, all the time, every day. I needed to wake up, I needed to go to wherever I was capturing and getting my leads, and I needed to have leads. The second thing is I needed to be able to convert those leads. And there's the combination theme that you're about to hear throughout the rest of this. So lead generation. We break lead generation down into three primary buckets. And this is an important thing from context for you as a real estate investor to start to understand and say, how can I generate leads on a consistent basis in my business? Number one, we go after what we call from the field leads. This is from canvassing, it's from driving for dollars, it's from being out in the field, it's from having a team of bird dogs or scouts out in the field, but from the field. And we're looking for things that are signs of distress. These are very property specific things. Disconnected gas utilities, boarded up front doors, broken windows, tall grass, on snowy days, driveways where it snowed 4 days ago and the driveway has no tracks in it. These are all signs of potential property distress problems. And our lead generation from the field focuses on the property distress, because you can't drive by a property and see what's going on with the owners, because maybe they do, maybe they don't even live there. But what you can see are signs of potential distress. So the driving for dollars. Number one, from the field. Number two, public records. Now, I have become a master of public records because it's important to master your craft. As a real estate investor, you need to become a master of lead generation from public records. Now, public records means you're going to go into the public domain and you're going to use various services and software and products that aggregate and pull, or you're going to go direct to the public record source and get these leads and aggregate them and start to build lists based on public records. And the third thing that you're going to do is what we call specialty list building. You're going to build specialty lists. These are your code violations, your eviction lists, your foreclosure notice of default late. These are lists that you have to go figure out how to get, because most jurisdictions are different and the way you get access to them varies. So from the field, public records, and third, specialty lists. Then what you do is you start to build and stack these things together. So number one thing that you need to do to master your craft is master lead generation. Now, inside our real estate investing franchise called Real Estate From Anywhere, that is one of the very distinctive things that we have done and created that separates us from the rest of the pack. And let me tell you why. For all of our franchisees that come on board and buy a license to a territory inside of our franchise system, we handle all of their lead generation. We handle all of your lead generation, because the next piece is, number two, master sales. So you've got the lead generation and you've got the conversion. It's the sales process. So inside of our franchise, we have a leads agency that handles the lead generation, the marketing campaigns, the tracking, the ROI optimization, the follow-up strategies. We automate and handle and manage all of that inside of our franchise for our franchisees. And that is a huge, huge thing. I've done a lot of studying on franchise concepts over the years. And I've talked to guys and gals that you would know if I put their names out there that have started and run franchises for years. And I've asked them this question. when we were looking to franchise our real estate investing operation, I asked this question, and this is the repeated, consistent answer I got. If there's one thing that I should know as a franchisor, building a franchise system in my business that somebody can step into on day one and has a good shot, if they follow the system and do the work and put in the effort of being successful, what is it? And the overwhelming answer was control and be a part of driving the lead generation and the follow-up. Control the lead generation. So we as a franchisor inside Real Estate From Anywhere, we control the lead generation. I've talked about this on other episodes. We have a bell that's just down the hall from my office here in the office building. And yesterday, that bell rang 8 times. We bought 2 properties. We bought 3 properties. I'm just looking at my notes on my screen. We bought 3, we sold 2, and we closed on 3. So every time we buy a property, every time we sell a property, every time we close on a property, every time we lease up and fill a property, every time we complete a construction project, we ring the bell. And the bell rang 8 times yesterday. 8 times on one day. Now, if I added up what that looks like mathematically, that was a 6-figure day. Now, do we have 6-figure days every day? No, we don't have 6-figure days every day, but I'll tell you this much. That bell rings every single day, multiple times. And the reason that bell rings every single day, multiple times, is because we have consistency in lead generation. We've mastered lead generation. We know how to do it. We generate leads every single day. And we master sales. We have taught and trained and do continuing education for our team to master sales. If you can master lead generation or plug into a system that has an aligned interest in your success, like our franchise at Real Estate From Anywhere, and we control the lead generation on your behalf for you, working in partnership with you, and you take our sales process and you master sales, it's a winning combination. Number 1, master lead generation. Number 2, master sales. Number 3, master real estate contracts. If you are in the business of real estate investing, you need to understand real estate contracts. If you don't understand real estate contracts, you're going to struggle in this business, and I'm going to give you a perfect example why. One of my acquisitions guys last week was working a deal with a wholesaler out in another market. And this host, it was a good deal. He negotiated a good deal. He did a good job on whatever lead generation he had. He did a good job on getting the deal sold. And he was just going to assign or sell us his contract. And we were happy to buy it. We were going to buy his contract for a $7,000 assignment fee, and we were going to take over all of the rights and obligations of his purchase agreement with the seller, and we were going to close in like 3 to 5 days. We were ready to go, just waiting for title to be fully dialed in. He sends us over the purchase contract that he has with the seller. And my acquisitions guy kind of reads it, and he's like, hey, I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know everything yet. You know, he's a pretty new acquisitions guy, and he's knocking it dead because he's simply following our system. He has not mastered real estate contracts yet, but he's getting there. So he reads this contract that we're about to buy, and he's like, hey, this doesn't feel right. So he brings it to me, and he looks at it, and I got to be honest with you. It was one of the worst abominations of a real estate purchase and sale agreement that I've ever seen in my life. It was bad. And I frankly said, we can't buy this. We cannot buy this contract because it will put our company taking over all of the risks of that contract and all of the obligations and all of the unknowns of that contract in a pretty bad position. I was not willing to buy it. So here's what we did. We actually went ahead and wrote the purchase contract direct to the seller, sent it to the guy and said, here, we're not attorneys. This is an example of what we would do, and this is the contract that we would buy. if you had it under contract, so do with it what you want. What do you think he did? He went and got it signed from the seller. They scrapped their abomination, and we got a new contract signed, one that we would actually purchase. Then what do you think we did? We actually took the assignment of contract and bought the contract and closed. That's how this business works. So you've got to master real estate contracts. You have to understand what's the difference between liquidated damages and specific performance. You need to understand the difference between legal title and equitable title. You need to understand the difference between all of the things that go into a real estate contract and the bare minimums that you need to have either disclosed or included in your contract in order to, number one, create a valid contract, and number two, put yourself in a position to buy something that doesn't come back to bite you, or negotiate and sign something that doesn't come back to bite you. So you've got to master real estate contracts. I'm gonna just say this. Most real estate agents have not mastered their craft. They are not a master of real estate contracts. They rely on, hey, state board, give me the contract, and they become an order taker. They fill in the blanks, and everything hopefully goes well. As a real estate investor, that's not our deal, because we need to understand what we're doing, what we're buying, what we're selling, how we're structuring the deals, because that's what gives us the power and the flexibility and the creativity to actually put good deals together. So number 3 is master real estate contracts. Number 4, master sales. Do you notice that number 2 and number 4 are the same thing, master sales? If you want to be successful in this business, you need to master sales. Guess what? Number 5, master sales. The number 5 thing that you need to do to master your craft, assuming you've got leads, assuming you've got a handle on the real estate contracts and doing things the right way, you need to master sales. Master sales is number 2. It's number 4. It's number 5. Guess what number 6 is? Master sales. So I'm starting to hit you with this master sales idea. So let me give you a couple of things that are important components of mastering sales. I like to break them down into 5 elements that mastering sales is all about. These are 5 big picture buckets, and then our sales process is about a 12-step process that we go through, and we teach our acquisitions guys that are working here for us how to go through the sales process on either the buying side or the selling side. You've got to master sales. So here are the 5 things. Number 1, you've got to create value, okay? So in any sales situation, it's not about beating the other party. It's not about being smarter than the other party. It's about understanding the other party and knowing what they want and knowing what you can give and what you have to get in this ebb and flow negotiating process. But any successful win-win negotiation has to start from the premise of there is value that's being transferred between the parties. You're giving value and you're getting value. That's sales. So the number 1 thing is value. The number 2 thing is a story. What's the story that you're having? What's the conversation? What's the rapport building? What's the relationship that's established with the seller or the buyer or the people? In any sales situation, number 1, there has to be an inherent understanding that there's a transfer of value. You're both getting something. And when you both get something, you figure out, what am I getting and what am I giving? What are they getting and what are they giving? And oftentimes, for the seller to get cash quickly and no other responsibility to maintain or improve or do anything to the property, you're getting a discount. So they're getting cash fast. You're buying it as is. That's what the seller is getting, and you're buying it at a discount. So there's a give and there's a get. The next thing is the story. It's the rapport building that you go through through this entire process. The third step in mastering sales, the third thing is an understanding of scarcity. Okay? Now, you might think about this and say, well, wait a minute, I don't have, 12 chickens that lay 24 eggs, and so I only have two dozen cartons of eggs every single day that I can sell. There isn't true scarcity. Part of the story and part of the conversation and part of mastering sales is making what you offer truly scarce. Making what you offer truly scarce. And the reason for that is you want the person buying from you or selling to you to be pursuing you as their best choice. And when you become a scarce commodity, when you understand the sales process to make your thing that you could go get from many other places scarce, you win. Now, the fourth thing in mastering sales is scarcity followed by urgency. Why should we make a decision today? Why is it in your best interest to make a decision today? How does this benefit you? Scarcity and urgency are two things that go hand in hand, and they actually create benefit to the seller if you understand how to put them together. So scarcity and urgency, and the fifth component of mastering sales. And these things are the things that make up our 12-step sales process and cycle. It's why our guys are so successful over the phone. And we close most of our deals. 99% of our deals are closed over the phone in markets that we don't live in. We run a completely virtual, remote real estate investing business so that I can be here in Denver, Colorado, because I like the mountains. I like going fly fishing. I like going skiing. I like going on long hikes deep into the backcountry. I like the mountains. I don't want to live away from the mountains. I like the mountains. But I want to do business and invest because Denver is one of the hottest markets in the country. Prices have gone up, rents have gone up, but they have not gone up in accordance with the prices, so your cash flow is horrible. Competition is super high, inventory is super low. So I want to invest in markets that make a ton of sense, where I can go in and I can find and put deals together quicker, and I can make money faster. That's my whole objective, is to go into a market that's easier versus harder. You have to ask yourself, do you want to work harder or do you want to work easier? Do you want to work harder or do you want to work easier? I prefer to go in and make business easier. So the sales process and the whole approach that we take with this is a virtual remote deal, which is why we close everything over the phone. And so closing over the phone requires us to understand these 5 elements of sales and then our 12-step sales cycle process on exactly how we go through this and actually close deals on a regular basis over the phone. Bought 3 yesterday. I know that bell's going to be ringing today because I've already talked to our acquisitions guys, and they've got a bunch of deals, a bunch of leads queued up, ready to go, and we're just waiting for signed contracts to come back. We're ready to close. All they need to do is get the signed paperwork, and we're ready to go. Master sales. Number 7, master real estate deal evaluation. Now, if you go to robswanson.com and you click on the menu bar and you click on the Start Here menu, I have talked about this on other episodes on the Real Freedom Show. There is a video that you can go through that I have taught my daughter how to invest in real estate. When she was graduating from high school, I boiled it down to, if I was teaching my own kids, which I was, my daughter came to me and said, hey, Rob, she didn't call me Rob, hey, Dad, teach me how to invest in real estate. And I sat down with her and I went through for an hour and I created a sheet, chicken scratching sheet, that you can go download and you can look at exactly how I taught my daughter to invest in real estate. Go to robswanson.com and click on the Start Here button up in the menu bar. Master deal evaluation. See, once you've got leads, once you are mastering sales, once you understand your real estate contracts, then you need to know how to evaluate a deal. What makes a deal a deal? What's my exit strategy? I want you to be thinking with the end in mind. How am I going to get out of this thing? right? The question that any successful real estate investor asks is, what's my worst day and how do I get out of it? Any investor in any investment needs to be asking the risk question, and the ability to ask that question properly only comes when you have experience and knowledge, because you can't truly understand the actual worst day risk unless you've been through it. You have to have been through it. Once you've been through it, you can start to ask these questions intelligently. What's the worst day? And this goes into your deal evaluation process. Now, again, inside of our real estate from anywhere franchise, our acquisitions guys and our dispositions guys have access to our software tools. We've got acquisitions calculators and software, and we have dispositions or sales tools and calculators that allow them to punch in a few numbers, and all of the analysis is done for them. Now we teach them the analysis process. Go to robswanson.com, start here, click on that button, and go see how we start the process of educating them. Then what I want you to do is I want you to dive in, and I want you to start learning this yourself. Really start to master deal evaluation. If you can master deal evaluation, we talk a lot about this on the Real Freedom Show, you can make intelligent investment and business decisions, because when you're knowledgeable, you have the confidence to take action. Fear is the thing that holds most people back. So what I try to do, the purpose of this show, the purpose of other content that I put out there, is to help you reduce the fear by giving you knowledge. If you can gain knowledge and reduce fear, you can take actions to get the results you want. That is what I have seen coaching hundreds of people over the years and working with people, helping them buy property because they want to build their cash flow, they want to build their wealth. Fear is the number one thing that you have to overcome. Now, number 7 is master deal evaluation. Number 8 is master sales. 8 is master sales. Do you see how this sales thing keeps coming back? Do you see how you got to get good at sales? Now, here's the thing. If you're not good at sales, that doesn't mean that you cannot be a good real estate investor. That means, though, that you're going to probably be more of either one of two things. If you want to be an active investor, you're going to have to hire a sales team. You're going to have to hire a salesperson. If you want to be an active investor and you don't want to learn, you don't want to do sales, you're going to need to hire that person. If, on the other hand, you don't want to be an active investor and you just want to be a passive investor, then you don't need to master sales, because you're going to come to a company like Real Estate From Anywhere and say, hey, where can I buy discount income properties in good markets across the country? You're going to come to an operator like us and say, what do you have? What's available? What kind of returns are estimated? What does it rent for? And we're going to handle the finding of the deals. We're going to handle the construction services, and we're going to handle the back-end leasing. And so you can be a passive investor and still take advantage of building your wealth through real estate without having to master sales. But if you want to be an active owner, an active business owner, finding your own deals, cutting your own deals, working this, you have one of two choices. You either master sales or you hire someone that will master sales, because number 8 is master sales. Number 9 is master structuring offers. See how lead generation, real estate contracts, deal evaluation, and structuring offers all play together? Because it's all about finding that distressed or motivated seller and negotiating the right deal and putting a package, an offer together that will get accepted more often than not. If you master structuring offers so that you can create win-win scenarios, you're going to win. You're going to get more deals than the other guy because you're going to out-offer them. I win and I beat competitive investors all the time. When we built our franchise, we went into one of the most competitive markets in the country that still had what we would consider a wholesale market bend. And what I mean by that is prices are low, rents are high, the cash flow and the return on investment is significant. That's what I want to look for. That's what I wanted to go into. And then I chose one of the most competitive markets in the country in that type of a market because I wanted to show you that if I can go in with my team, with my systems, with my processes, and into, on purpose, one of the most competitive markets and use these things, master lead generation, master sales, master real estate contracts, master deal evaluation, master structuring offers. If I go in and do those things in one of the most competitive markets in the country and we can win and ring the bell 8 times yesterday, then you can win too. You just need to understand these components of the business. Number 10, and we're going to wrap this up, is master sales. 5 of the 10 things you need to do to master your craft is mastering sales. We'll talk a whole bunch about this on the Real Freedom Show because freedom comes when you can master sales and help other people get what they want while you are getting what you want. Do you realize that sales is not taking advantage of somebody? Do you realize that sales is not getting somebody to do something that they don't want to do? Do you realize that sales is actually creating win-win scenarios and there's a negotiation you give and you get through this process? And the better you can get at understanding how to give and how to get, people end up with a winning scenario. Mastering sales is all about creating win-win so that everybody walks away happy. I can't tell you how many times I have been thanked by sellers at the closing table or after the closing table when I bought a great deal. But you know what? I listened to their problem, I heard their pain, and I offered a solution. That's it right there. I listened to their problem, I understood and heard their pain, and I offered a solution that made sense and worked for them. And I am thanked more often than not for that process. This is what you have to do to be successful as an active real estate investor. What questions do you have? Send me a text, call in and ask a question to 720-605-6265, 720-605-6265. If you'll call in on future episodes, we'll take your questions, we'll answer them, we'll break this stuff apart, and we'll dive in. This has been episode number 6 of the Real Freedom Show, Mastering Your Craft. My name is Rob Swanson. We are going to dive into this stuff deeper and broader and all over the place in future episodes. I hope you're enjoying this. If you have not done it yet, would you go subscribe on iTunes and give us a rating? If you like this show, give me a 5-star rating. If you don't like it, do whatever you want to do. But would you let me know? Are you enjoying this? You can just call into that phone number and just let me know. Hey, call in and leave a voicemail. Tell me that you like the show. Tell me one takeaway that you've gained from this. And then go subscribe on iTunes. And as we release additional episodes, you'll stay in the loop and you'll have access to this. So go out and master your craft. You've got the 10 list of items that you need to master. Start diving in, start getting educated, start learning how to do these things, and you will succeed in this and any business. In fact, you can succeed in life. So again, this is Rob Swanson for the Real Freedom Show, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.